Sage Days tradition is status reports. So good opportunity to let everybody know what you're working on, what's been holding you up, and often somebody in the room will have a good idea to help you out with whatever's causing you to stumble. So I think we'll go around the room this way and start with William.
I created a server for them. And also for Edgar at North Seattle Community Corp. And worked on some other stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to preparing tomorrow's talk, and also I was adopting the whole scrolls and some other tools that I have seen. I have tried to put it in my site.
I fixed some doc test problems with the MathJax stuff that we worked on yesterday, and I've been trying to, I have no idea how to track down a memory leak in Python. If anyone knows how to do that, I would love some suggestions.
I'm not raising my hand.
Is the MathJax patch all positively reviewed or anything else?
No, but it should be, review it.
Okay.
There's just some doc test failures. The patch for fixing that needs to be reviewed.
Susan, you're up.
Feedback survey when we're done here.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's
leave
right.
without
We'll
doing
come
it.
back to you remind me, please. Bruce.
Hi, yeah, I've been working with Jason and John. Where are all these chocolate people? There he is. Okay, good. And Malcolm, where's cookies and Palm. Anyway, on the web work, and Jason, you as well. The web work Sage interface, and we've got lots of good ideas, and maybe other people will talk about them in more detail.
I'm Brad. I wrote an article for the College Mathematics Journal that included a Sage worksheet, and the publisher hasn't figured out what to do with it yet. It's out for review. If any of you are the reviewers, please turn in your reviews, because it's been out for longer than it should have. I figured somebody in this room must be one of the reviewers, because there are only so many people who can intelligently review.
They might be watching a YouTube video too.
True. Yeah, turn in your reviews. But the worksheet needs to be self-explanatory for people who've never used Sage. And how do you write such a thing? And how do you do it without making it so long that people won't bother to do it, yet detailed enough that people will actually understand, and it'd be a useful introduction. So if anybody has good examples or good ideas of that, I'd appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, I learned how to write some web problems in morning, and I'm trying to learn how to add something to the Sage libraries for future.
So I continue working on packaging for Sage Notebook, and I think I'm pretty much finished now. So I'm going to be putting up a pull request in a little while. Yeah, and also while I was at it, I fixed a weirdness in the Sage S package maker. So if anyone wants to review it, ticket 13113.
I've been working on the Sage cell with IPython with IPython with Stephen, and we most recently were working on doing tab completion in the browser, and also making it so that we're able to connect, or so that we're able to have the main server and the kernels on different computers.
How about let's go all the way around and hit the back people this time. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just installed Sage Solve it, and I look at some published documents and tutorial demo. Also, I got some help from TJ, thanks him. And I have some more homework for myself to learn more. about Sage.
Can I also say he participated in a short 10-minute user accessibility or whatever study where he tried to figure out how Sage worked from scratch and opened my eyes to how we really need to be a lot more friendly to people just starting Sage from fresh.
I started enhancing some of my linear algebra notes with links to the Sage cell server, so that students could go directly to computations from examples and modify them. I've been working on.
So I installed the latest version of Sage. Nothing broke. And I did find a problem with trying to display 3D graphics under Mountain Lion in any browser, and the solution is you have to go into utilities and look at Java preferences and enable the plugins. There's little box that you check.
Does Mountain Lion 10.8?
Yes.
The one that was released like yesterday or
The one that
not?
No, the one 10.7.
You just said Mountain Lion.
Mountain Lion. Oh,
No, Lion.
Even
10.7.
even just Lion.
Lion.
So many people rumored using
No,
Yeah, but no one yet.
But nobody is, okay.
Yeah, well, the latest version, they're not the version that they just released.
Or haven't released yet. In July they'll release it.
Yeah. 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 Let's see, I also worked on some multivariable calculus labs, and one other thing I'm working on with 3 other people is getting a summary sheet of commands for abstract algebra.
Quick reference.
Quick reference, yes.
Awesome.
There's probably something else, but I'm forgetting.
I have been trying to make some really short Sage worksheets to get students to actually use it in linear algebra.
Yeah, I'm working on this quick reference for abstract algebra that Tom just mentioned.
I was also with the group creating a quick reference sheets. I didn't really contribute much, but I was watching it very carefully.
I'm also with the group working on a quick reference sheet, divide and conquer method. And this morning I wrote a chapter for our open source calculus text on quadratic surfaces, and I'm working on a Sage worksheet to go with that.
This quick referencing is going to be really good. Wow.
Or really long.
Yeah, right.
So before lunch, I worked with a group of people that are interested in embedding Sage Interacts into WebWork problems, and we reviewed the current WebWork applet interface and how that works, and what we need to do to enable that to work for Sage Interacts. And then after lunch, Jason promised that he would be my best friend if I got Sage or WebWork calling out to Sage to get answers back, and so I'm trying to do that.
So this morning I updated our now obsolete Sage server from 4.8 to 5.01 and looked at optimizations for some Python code and helped Gwen with some other projects.
I guess I spent most of the morning taking a worksheet that we had for Newton's law of cooling data that students collected from Logger Pro temperature probes, and actually converting worksheets we had in MathCAD to something that can run in Sage. So after talking with Jason, it turns out there's nice wrappers already for a lot of the functions we were trying to write, but they look very nice, and I guess we're going to turn them into interacts later after we've got this all done.
All right, now let's hit the back row.
Okay, so after the information from Jason this morning, I've been trying to go through the WebWork code that's already written for other applets, and so I can understand that, and we can put it in Sage in the picture.
And I was part of this group of guys doing the Sage WebWork interactions, and finally got their thing that they had worked out earlier in the week, working on top of mine, so.
All right, back row. You guys will have to like move back and forth and whatever else.
We're good. I've been working on figuring out how to build groups in Sage, and I just built my first group and got it to work after a lot of bugs. Also, one more thing. virtual machine doesn't have enough memory, so I've also actually been working on trying to figure out how to increase the disk size, and if anyone knows how to do that.
Cool. Didn't we have to do that, Stephen,
Yeah.
with your virtual machine?
Cool.
In VirtualBox, are you using VirtualBox?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Disk space or memory, RAM?
Disk space.
Okay, yeah, that's what we did, didn't we?
Yeah. We did disk space.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. Jason.
I made some improvements to Samuel's fork of the notebook.
Ira already covered. I've been working with Ira on the cell server. He talked about what we are going to do. So I guess we also got it so that it'll execute more than one line of code now. That's good. And,
For free.
which is nice. And also, we made it so it properly cleans up after itself. So when you shut down the server, it shuts down all the kernels on all the computers elsewhere, which is nice.
Cool. Middle here. There.
Continuing work on the Interact database, and right now I'm working on the home page so that there's a little bit more. I'm adding cell servers, I guess Sage cells, to the page so that you can go to the home page and click evaluate and see some cool examples. So I'm sifting through the ones on the Interacts on the wiki and deciding which ones I want to put on for now. That's what I'm working on.
I've been continuing working on implementing links, and currently what I'm stuck on is trying to make it so the changes that I'm making changes to worksheets from the Sage command line, and I need to figure out how to save them because they're not saving instead of like a drop down menu sort of thing. It's just so I need to figure that out.
Wait, so
like if I say if I have a worksheet in the command line and I say like I want to change its name, and then if I log out, it won't actually change the name. I have to like write it to the Sage worksheet file on the system, and then the notebook will look at that. So I don't know how to write to the file.
Yeah, so there's a pickle that saves all that information.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to write that pickle somehow. How are you changing things on the command line?
Well, I'm using the Sage nv.notebook.notebook.
Okay.
.notebook.
Right. So you're using the functionality from the notebook class.
Yeah, and then I can get all the worksheets. So
Right.
I have all the worksheets that are like when I was in the algebra, but then and then if I like just change the various attributes, and I like quit, it won't actually change them.
Right, because you need to write it back. Yeah, I'll come over and we can look at that together.
Okay.
Rob, did you have anything to report?
I edited the wiki, I cleaned up my reimbursement records and started to send a few of you emails and forms. There'll be more of those coming out. I dealt with Susan's banishment from Google Groups, some email as temporary interim chair of my department, no new Sage code, but I hope to change that after dinner. So that's the plan.
So I was like walking around helping people and worked a lot with the WebWork guys. Finished off a plate from Mongolian Grill that was like this big.
He had the largest I could think of.
I didn't quite finish it all, but anyway, and then just been like helping various people with various things.
Susan, you want to remind us about
Yeah.
surveys? It's linked on the wiki, I think,
It's
right?
linked on the wiki. It's called Wednesday Survey. It'll take you about 5